Hello and welcome to Focus on FCT, a program that keeps you up to speed with policies and programs of the FCT administration, all geared towards making Abuja take its rightful place in Committee of Nations. I am Mariam George Jitbo.
Residents of the Federal Capital Territory are hereby alerted to the activities of scavengers, also known as Babambula, which security agencies have identified as a high-level security threat to not only the residents but also to our infrastructure as they perpetrate petty stealing and acts of vandalism on public utilities. More so, they are drug peddlers, serve as spies to terrorist elements, and are ready-made tools for the public disturbances during which they attack people with dangerous weapons. The Federal Capital Territory Administration therefore reiterates that the ban on scavengers aka Bababula operating within the Federal Capital City is still in force. These miscreants are advised to stay off the streets of the Federal Capital City for their own good, as defaulters will be apprehended and prosecuted, including parents of underage children involved in these practices. Relevant agencies are carrying out enforcement of this ban as stipulated. Be law-abiding always. Let's together build the FCT of our dreams. Management Announcer.
The Federal Capital Territory Administration has insisted that the Department of Outdoor Advertisement and Signage has the sole mandate of collecting advertising and signage bills in the territory. Director of DOAS, Babagana Adam, disclosed this in an interview on Focus on FCT. This clarification is coming against the backdrop of rising cases of fake revenue collectors in the FCT, a development the director maintained calls for urgent attention. These and more after this timeout. Don't go away. We shall be right back. Joining me now is the Director, FCT Department of Outdoor Advertisement and Signage, Dr. Babagana Adam. Glad to have you join us on Focus on FCT.
Thank you very much, Mariam and NTA.
Let's begin on this note. Who has the real mandate of collecting advertising and signage bills in the FCT?
It's a big question. The Federal Capital Territory Administration has the mandate to regulate outdoor advertisement and signage haulage as it is. But rates of advertisement and other issues that relates to it, the area councils or local government have a part of the responsibility. So it's a dual thing. The state, and in this case, the FCT, and the local government, in this case, the area councils, have dual role of collection because of the Land Use Act, environmental protection, and planning purpose. Both have to cohabitate and work together. That is the law.
Now, where did we get it wrong, having different agencies of government collecting advertising and signage bills in the FCT?
I think is the touts and the thugs in urban areas who want to reap where they have not planted anything. So that is the key issue. And unfortunately, it is used in the name of politics to please maybe your political brigades to get something out of it. But the laws are there because you can't fix advertisement on the air. You have to fix it, and it's on land. And the prerogative of land matters are vested with the governors, and as in FCT is vested with the Honorable Minister of the FCT. So both have responsibilities to cohabitate and co-work together. But you know, when thugs and some mercenaries of revenue collection come in, all they look for is for the financial gain. They don't care about the environmental effect. They don't care about the process of obtaining licenses or permits to do that. Because the rates of advertisement, if there is an advertisement, is shared between the state and the local government. In this case, between the FCT administration and the area councils. So when people come and interfere with the process because of their greed, because of their want of what they have not really worked for, so it brings a clash And this is a political error. And most of the times, politicians would want to please their lieutenants and those who worked for them. And sometimes rightfully so and legitimately so, but it goes to the extent of affecting ease of doing business in the cities. And that is why no single role will work on its own. No single role is an island on its own. The land in the Federal Capital Territory is under the control of the Honorable Minister as represented by the President, but as represented by the Honorable Minister. In states, is the Governor who has, under the Land Use Act, the power to charge rentage for spaces. Environmental protection is mostly state responsibility. So these touts are the ones who are causing the problem. Touts that want to go alone, want to collect government revenue. And so in a nutshell, it is the greed-driven private sector organizations that don't want to follow the due process to become a part of a successful story. And to cut a long story short, there is nowhere a private company is to collect tax directly. It is the responsibility of government to collect tax directly. And it is the responsibility, if you delegate to them, for the consultants to give you the wherewithal, the skills, the equipment on how to generate more revenue to run your government.
What informed the recent cry by your department on activities of illegal revenue collectors and their collaborators in the FCT?
The cry is, this morning, just before you came in, I was speaking to the representatives of a company in Abuja who were invaded, attacked, and all their posters in Gwarimpa were painted. Another printing press that is registered with doors, they went and exit and painted them. Another eye clinic along Yakubu Gawan Crescent were harassed yesterday, day before yesterday, continuously, almost every day this week. So as a government responsible and as a responsible government, we will not allow, even when you are doing the right things, for you to harass hardworking business people in the FCT or anywhere in the state in Nigeria. But our jurisdiction is the FCT. So when the cry became loud and it became visible and it became painful, because instead of striving to make ends meet, they are now struggling with touts on the street that want to collect revenue at all costs. The same yesterday, a construction company, a renowned construction company in Abuja, an indigenous one, called me to say, please, they want a confirmation because somebody came from Amak to ask them, that same character in Amak came to ask them that they must pay, or he threatened pulling down their structures yesterday. So as a responsible representative of the Federal Capital Territory Administration and the director of the Department of Outdoor Advertisement and Signage, the last time I checked, it is still under our purview, for us to regulate, control, and standardize the act and practice of outdoor advertisement in the FCT. If we keep quiet and allow that, we are now shielding our responsibility to people that are not responsible for it. Environmental protection is our responsibility. Business premises is also our responsibility, even though it's shared with area councils or local governments. So it's a clear-cut thing that we will not allow anybody to come and take that. Municipal activities are not allowed to take place in urban areas. It is also the same in state capitals. Abuja is not only a state capital, it's the capital of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And Abuja is the only black man's capital in the world and is our center of unity. So if the law says municipal and act says the municipal activities cannot take place in state capitals, what is it in the Federal Capital Territory of this country? So there is an Abuja Environmental Protection Act. In it also, it has directed that nobody has a right to post any posters or billboards. It is in the Act of Abuja Environmental Protection Board. So as Federal Capital Territory Administration, it is our duty, not for revenue. Not for revenue. Let me ask you a question, Mariam. Have you ever seen any of the area councils cleaning posters that are defacing the city? Have you seen any of the area council erect street lights, construct roads in the city? So how can you name a child you did not father? How can you benefit? Yes, as a community, that is why we share the revenue that comes from DOAS with the area council, the FCT administration, and DOAS. So we are not in the collection of revenue for revenue's sake. We are in it to prevent blight, reflections where you don't put billboards anyhow, so that it reflects and causes accident. We don't want clustering. Clustering is the putting of billboards on a road that will now block view of the vehicular users and also the traffic, so that you don't cause accident. So it is not about revenue, but we hear them only when the touts and the so-called technical partners, we hear them when it comes to money. Please, the press, you should ask those people that are fighting for money, why don't we also fight for cleaning the Abuja city? Why? We should fight. The money that is shared, the FCT administration pays our salary, pays our rent, pays our gratuity and pensions. How much is the local government paying? But yet the Federal Capital Territory Administration is sharing on a given formula that 60% of whatever revenue that is generated is given to them without consideration to the salaries, allowances, rent, and other overhead that is paid to the department.
Well, now, what is the way forward on this ugly trend?
The only way forward is for all the illegal revenue collectors to be disengaged if they are engaged, or to be arrested, prosecuted, and detained, if that will be. But the final nail on the coffin of this hulabaloo about the whole issue is to have an act of the National Assembly setting up the Department of Outdoor Advertisement and Signage as an agency, which is the constitutional mandate of the Federal Capital Territory Administration, to set up agencies, departments, and secretariats that will discharge the administrative role of the capital city. That is the only legal solution, because if that is done like it is done in Lagos, Abuja is not the only city in Nigeria. There are cities like Lagos that established the Lagos State Signage Advertisement Agency. They share whatever that the Lagos State Signage Advertisement Agency collects 50-50 with the local government. Theirs is even 50-50, not 60-40. It has been challenged in court, and the courts have given judgment that the Lagos State government has the powers to do that. So the only lasting solution is the passage of the bill that has already passed at the House of Representatives stage. It is only awaiting the concurrence of the Senate, and it was a privately sponsored bill by Honorable Tahir Monguno, representing Monguno and some other local governments in Borno State, and Honorable Idris Garba, the chairman FCT House Committee in the House. So him and his other colleagues saw it necessary for FCT to get more revenue, sanitize the environment, and also protect the citizens. They saw it and they deemed it fit, with also blessing ONU, the former social development secretariat. And now Honorable Tahir Mongulo, wish to congratulate him, is now a distinguished senator-elect of the Federal Republic. So we wish and hope that the Senate will expedite action to pass that bill. You see, as beneficiaries of the revenues collected in the FCT, on our agreement, you know there is a change of button. A new chairman was elected. And somehow, it doesn't matter which platform you are elected on. But when somebody is misled by people who are after the resources of the state, rather than working for the people of the state, so many things will happen. And this is just the emergence and symptomatic problem of transition, if it is not well managed. So we are yet to sit with the current administration as DOAS and area council to sort out certain issues. But Since it started bringing its ugly head for the past 6 months, if you notice, but I have not uttered a word. But at the upper level, my principals have discussed with the principals of the area councils, and there was a resolution. And the person that is like a drunkard cowboy that is disturbing every business where he sees a big billboard was called and told to stay clear of FCT city centers, completely stay clear. And the chairman of the area council has called and cautioned him to stay clear of it. But you know, money is sweet too, but at least make we think am. As money is sweet, it can also do good and it can do bad. But again, when you want to always extort money from the people for the wrong reasons, the long arm of the law will catch on with it. So I think that drive for just money, without considering other things.
And finally, you appeal to FCT residents.
My appeal to FCT residents is whoever comes asking you to pay for revenue, ask that person to give you how did he arrive at the rate, and ask him who empowered him. And if the person argues further, if it's on signage, tell him you will want him and Doers to come for a meeting with you before you will pay either Doers or you will pay the others. Then when you are convinced, you can part with your hard-earned money. But we, as a government agency, we don't fight for revenue. We follow due process. We don't do certain things without following guidelines. So our difference between us as an institution established by the law and those who establish themselves for themselves and their family to extort money is very clear. We don't come day one and ask you that you must pay, and we insist it's money, and we won't tell you whether the signage is standard or substandard or is well done. They are just looking for your money. We are looking for your safety, and we are looking for your conducive atmosphere. You can even pay in bits and pieces over the year if the bill is considered to be too much. Who is more humane between the government organization that is working for the people or the individuals that are working for themselves and their other cabals or cartels that they work for?
It's always a pleasure having you on Focus on FCT, sir.
Thank you very much for being on NTA, the biggest reach in Africa, and it's always a pleasure to speak to the public because NTA is a grassroots television and we are working for the grassroots.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
A stitch in time, they say, saves 9. Let's all be guided to avoid falling on the antics of the fake revenue collectors in the FCT. Up next is review of FCTA activities for the past week.
Out of the 97 schools assessed in the 16th batch accreditation for both public and private schools, 85 were presented with full accreditation, while 12 were granted provisional approval. During a symbolic presentation, the FCT Secretary for Education, Sani Dahiru El Katuzu, tasked private school proprietors on ensuring compliance with the established standards in their operations.
Now, accreditation exercise is no longer once in a year. It is now quarterly. Similarly, I urge all private school proprietors to continue to ensure compliance to minimum standards in their operations and ensure the safety and protection of all learners under their care.
The accreditation certificate is the operating license for FCT schools whose mandate falls under the purview of the Department of Quality Assurance.
85 schools met up with the 67% and above in all the 4 thematic areas to get full accreditation. 12 schools failed to score 67% in one of the 4 thematic areas and got provisional accreditation. None of the schools failed to score 67 in 2 or more.
This is a challenge that it should give us a kind of revolutionary vaccine in order to give our best in line with the best global practices.
We are taking the FCT private schools higher and higher.
The 16th batch accreditation exercise was conducted between 5th and 17th of December 2022.
And the Social Development Secretariat, we wish you well and congratulations. This is a token from our hearts for you to.
The administration of President Muhammadu Buhari recently launched a 62 billion naira HIV/AIDS trust fund, which is meant to help Nigerians end the scourge of HIV. This will enable the Public Health Department to place more people living with the virus on treatment, thus ending new transmission by the end of 2030. This initiative, the Mandate Secretary said, will help curb the spread.
And even we have done it last year and we are doing it again. And inshallah, we are going to continue to do more.
Head HIV Unit, FCT Social Development Secretariat, Ene Okoro, revealed that this is another set of seed fund to support petty trading, small-scale businesses, and motorized grinding machines to boost income-generating activities that will enhance self-sustenance.
Quality assurance is very, very important. In our unit, we believe so much in monitoring and evaluation. We follow them, we assess and monitor whatever they are doing. We have supervisors. We go to all the communities, we have 6 area councils.
So in terms of cash transfer, in terms of income generating activities, so it could be, grinding machines, sewing machines. Just last month, we actually did another empowerment to a couple of women as well, where they gave a lot of things to them to improve their livelihood.
Blessing Williams, Esther Omar, Ahmed Baba are some of the beneficiaries.
I say thank you, God bless them and bless them more. Grinding engine. I will use that grant.
The FCT administration advised beneficiaries to make the best use of what they have been given.
On our Sanitation Watch, we shall be beaming our searchlight on the recent demolition of the ministerial tax team on city sanitation.
In order to prevent criminal activities in Edo District, the Federal Capital Territory Administration demolished illegal shanties, bachers and squatters settlements in the area. Senior Special Assistant to the FCT Minister on Monitoring, Inspection and Enforcement, Ihai Rata, led the cleanup to Edo area in collaboration with Department of Development Control, Security Services, Abuja Environmental Protection Board, and all security agencies. Atta lamented that the rate at which people build shanties on busy junctions, road corridors, abandoned plots, and green areas in Abuja. He said this will not be tolerated and routine removal will be the solution. The Field Coordinator FCT Special Ministerial Committee on Transportation and Public Nuisances, Olumuji Peter, said most of the shanties and bachers harbors criminal elements who come out at night to rob innocent people of their vulnerables. Head Monitoring and Enforcement, Abuja Environmental Protection Board, Kakabelo, called attention to the destruction and stealing of items such as poles, electric cables, manholes cover, and other vulnerable road infrastructure in the area.
I wish to reiterate that the FCT remains safe and we have our confidence in the ability of the security agencies to provide adequate security day and night. And from what we have seen in the immediate past, a lot of successes have been recorded, and I believe they will continue to be recorded, particularly with the provision of these vehicles.
This is where we wrap up this week's episode of the program. Keep a date with us next week, same time, same station. Be vigilant and report suspicious activities around you. Goodbye.